So after all that excitement, Donald Trump's campaign is hoping today goes off without a hitch after a last-ditch attempt to block his nomination failed. Several delegates from our state were caught right in the middle of all that chaos. Almost all of them are supporters of Ted Cruz, and they had been holding out some hope they might be able to change the rules, but they were shut down. One Washington delegate tells us she might just leave the Republican Party.
They shafted all of us. We spent all this money to come out here, and they shafted us. That's how I feel.
Some say this is definitely not how they want that convention to start.
When you have 9, maybe 11 states who have signed a letter to say, hey, we want a roll call vote, that's a direct affront to the nominee and to his convention.
Ted Cruz, by the way, will take to the stage coming up later this week.
Hallie Jackson on the floor. Hallie Jackson on the floor of the convention. Hallie, thanks so much. It's going to be a great night. It kicked off on Monday with some real fireworks. Yesterday afternoon at this time on the floor, attempts to force a vote by the anti-Trump delegates, which ultimately failed, but it caused a lot of noise. So will there be any more drama like that tonight inside Quicken Loans Arena? MSNBC's Jacob Soboroff joins me now for more on that. Jacob, any sign that there will be more dissent?
Kate, Hallie Jackson asked the question, what will the Unbound Delegates, the Delegates Unbound movement do? I happen to be standing next to the right person to ask that question. This is Kendall Unruh, the leader of the Free the Delegates movement, the leader of the walkout of the Colorado delegation yesterday. And everybody, all eyes are on the Colorado delegation and other delegations as to what they will do after yesterday's opposition to the roll call by the Republican Party. Kendall, everybody's looking at you guys. What are you going to do tonight?
Well, actually, Colorado is okay because we have all pledged to Ted Cruz, and our state delegation chairman is going to be extraordinarily fair, and he has said such in the reflection of the vote tally. But the other states to watch are Washington and Iowa and Utah and other states where there needs to be an accurate vote count reflected, or they're going to be challenged from the floor. And that includes a delegate literally standing up, taking the microphone if that vote tally has been cast, and challenging with precise language, so they're not ruled out of order, the fact that it does not accurately reflect the votes that were cast. And that's the only way that we can truly legitimately reflect the honesty and the integrity of voting a conscience, which, by the way, is a God-given right. It doesn't taken, nor is it given by the RNC. So after this incredible power grab that they have demonstrated, where they've encapsulated all the power into their hands, the delegates have actually had some pushback and said, you know what, we're going to take our voice back, because what they did was they mitigated this entire process. The delegates now realize that they're only here to be window dressing to coronate a king, and they're pushing back.
Let me ask you, what does it matter at this point if you're not going to stop Donald Trump from becoming the president, if you're not going to change the rules back from these 2016 rules that were approved in the Rules Committee meeting? What are you going to do other than make a lot of noise today, or what are these delegations going to do?
Well, it's just not about noise. Free conscience is a big deal. It's a matter of what exists inherently in every single individual, and this is a statement that actually supersedes anything that's done here. It goes in perpetuity. The fact that people stand on what they know to be their inherent right to express themselves in the form of a vote. A vote is a sanctity of something that they own, that nobody should be forcing or mandating or coercion or threats of retribution. None of that should be being applied to the form of a vote. And Donald Trump cannot do this in a general election. He's got to learn to earn it, and he should be doing that through persuasion and through reaching out to the delegates in order to get them to reflect honestly their conscience in voting for him. And that will help unify the party. And right now what he's done is he's divided the party, and that is creating this huge fissure that isn't going to be soon to be healed.
And you've hit on that point, every time I've talked with you. It seems like this is changing hour by hour. This morning I spoke with you, and you have alleged previously intimidation by the Donald Trump campaign because of the activities that you guys are engaged in.
Alleging.
You say it's not alleging. What have you heard from the campaign, from the RNC, from Trump supporters over the course of today as we've gotten closer towards the gavel tonight?
Well, it's like I will tell you something. I have administrators. I have 3 administrators of my Facebook page, and as this thing has progressed along, they cannot keep up with the Donald Trump supporting vitriol and profanity that is actually hurled at me because I'm so highly public against Donald Trump. And this is unprecedented in a presidential campaign. It is truly a unique circumstance to be involved in a whirlwind of hostility that's being directed at those who are brave enough and bold enough to stand up and say, I'm not going to be casting a ballot for Donald Trump. And that should be concerning to every American, because there are voter laws that state that you cannot harass, you cannot intimidate people in order to extort a vote from them. And we see it going on within the Republican Party. And that is what's so concerning now, that you have the RNC working in tandem with Donald Trump. They're, that this something that he said he was not, and that is he said he was an outsider. He said he was not an insider, and the very course of action that he took when he could take that course of action was to prove that he's the consummate insider, and he's part of the crony capitalism that's protecting the business of being in a primary state, because they made sure that those open primaries and blanket primaries were not shut down, because they want to make sure that they protect the big business that is a primary system.
Last question. Ken Cuccinelli, who has been a member of sort of your alliance that was protesting yesterday against this lack of a roll call vote, has said he's probably not going to protest this evening. Is the coalition starting to fall apart now on the second day of the convention?
No, it's not a matter of falling apart. It's what has happened is there's been so many different organic things that have sprouted up from the fact that the people are now realizing how they've been treated. And look, the realization is now that we're being used, and they're going to want us to go out there and work for this candidate. So it's up to them now to make sure that they mend the fissure that they've created and take ownership of what they've done. And that's part of what this movement is now about, is look, just take accountability, and we want transparency, because part of what has happened is we submitted these signatures and we're not being provided any transparency on the fact when they said that we didn't meet that threshold. And that's very concerning to us, because we are supposed to be an honest party, playing by the rules, playing by the process, and we haven't seen any of that this convention.
And what Kendall's saying, Kate, is important. The Donald Trump campaign and the RNC continues to call her and her movement a small but vocal minority. But what she has said about the signatures is true. We have not seen the signatures of the states that were withdrawn from that petition to have the roll call vote last night, and they haven't been released to us by the campaign or by the party, and something we're still trying to get a hold of. We'll be watching again Kendall very closely tonight, and her allies in both the Stop Trump movement and that movement to repeal the rules from 2016. I'm going to throw it back to you.
All right, Jacob Soboroff on the floor of the convention. Jacob, thank you. And by the way, we'll be talking to a Trump supporter in just a moment. But for the moment,